Hi guys, it's Billy from Discovery. Today we are going to look at our as-at reports. I'm going to show you how to run them out and what we use them for. Our as-ats have two purposes. One is to support our month-end balance sheet or trial balance, and the second is for operational users to help manage the business. So let's start with the month-end purpose. The as-at is a snapshot of all the transactions for that subledger at that time. The total of these transactions needs to balance to our balance sheet or trial balance. So part of the due diligence of month end is ensuring that the subledgers balance to the trial balance. And we use our as-ats to do this. We don't want to close our month end when our subledgers are out of balance from the trial balance. We have a frequently asked document on our online support center to help you troubleshoot any out of balance you run into. An example is when an inexperienced user posts a journal entry directly into a subledger account. This will cause the as-at to be out of balance from the trial balance. The trial balance will contain the journal entry, but the as-at will not, and so you get that disconnect. While the as-ats are most commonly used to support the balance sheet for month end, you can run the as-ats out anytime during the month if you want to use them for other purposes as well. It does give you that snapshot of them at that time. So let's dive in. You're going to need to navigate to the as-at financial analysis tile right here on your Springboard menu. If you don't see it, it might be because you're not authorized to the NGV. Make sure you are authorized to the NGV and the functions within so that you can run out those reports. So let me click this. Okay, so these are reports that have been run out in the past. I'm going to get right into how to run out the report, and we'll talk about the NGV in a bit. So to run it out, we're just going to go to this request as at NGV button. I'm going to click it. This is going to open up our NTA. So we just have a couple of things we need to fill out in order to run our as at. The first thing is our drop down with all of our as ats in it. So you're going to pick whichever one you want to run out at this time. I'm going to do the bank as at. The next thing is our period. So PIT stands for point in time. So this is our point in time period. So I'm going to hit the drop down. It'll show you your available accounting periods. I'm going to go with September. Oh, actually, you know what? I'm going to do October. Okay, the next thing we see is our month end as at. So you'll notice it's turned off. And then we have an expiry date. If I tick this on, the expiry date disappears. This works the same as our financial statements, and we do have a video on those if you're wondering how to run those out. So once you've closed your subledger, you run out your financial statements, everything balances and is good, and you're ready to finish up your month end. And when you want to run these out for the final time, you're going to tick this on, the month end as at on, and then that lets the system know you want to save this forever. This is your official numbers that are backing up that month end. And when you do that, it will save it forever. If you untick it, you'll notice it gives it an expiry date, which means that eventually it will expire. And once we reach the expiration date, it disappears from the system. So if you're running through a month end and you run out your as-ats a whole bunch of times, you have 20 different copies, the system's automatically going to delete all those ones you don't need because you really only need the month end one. You don't have to wade through them guessing which one is the one you're actually using for your backup for your financials. This is the official one. So we automatically delete them for you once they pass their expiry date. The expiry date, it automatically puts it to 60 days from today. You can put it up to 90 days if you want to, but if you try to go beyond 90 days, you're going to get an error, a message. The as at notes is a 30-character column that lets you put any little notes you need if you want to tell yourself or somebody else something about why you ran this out. It's actually this fourth column in the NGV, so it is a pretty visible way to get notes out there to people. And then our final option here is the AP and AR aging date. This only is used if you choose the AP or AR as-ats. And this is the date that will be used when we're aging your invoices into the different aging brackets, age categories. So that's what that date's for. I'm just going to go complete create and then yes to run it out. So once that's done running, it's going to show up here. We see our bank as at that was run today. So to actually see the details behind the as at, you go to this pit period column. So anytime we see a column with a blue header, that means that we can drill into it further. So I'm going to double click. I'm actually going to go into this inventory one because I feel like it has maybe a little bit more interesting information and a better example than the bank one. Okay, so here is the inventory as at for this accounting period 2025. So it starts with the item, the warehouse, the accounting period. We have the opening balance of the month, the closing balance, and then along here we have all of the different types of entries that can be made into the inventory subledger. So we have purchases, of course. We have manufactured is when you've closed a work order to inventory. We have usage to service orders, usage to work orders, direct sales, kits, upgrades, transfers, our adjustments, counts, variants. So it's showing us all of the different types of entries that can take place and how they've impacted the ASAT for this month. So some of them, nothing's happened, right? There's been no purchases here, and in other ones there has. If you want to see the totals because you want to be able to balance during your month end, you can go to the sum inventory ASAT, and it's going to show you those totals right at the bottom here, like that. But with the second thing, we're talking about operational users can use this to manage their part of the business. So if you give this to an inventory manager, they can come in here and see all of the different entries that happened for this month, and they can drill into it further. So let's pick on purchases here. I'm going to filter this so it only shows us the ones that actually have purchasing info. So I'm going to go, the purchases is not equal to 0 because that doesn't have any information in it. So this is going to show me all of the lines where a purchase order was done for that item. So I immediately see that, and I can drill into and see the purchase orders that make up these numbers. So I'm going to pick on maybe 50820. We'll see all the purchase orders that make up this number. So let's click on that. It's opening up a new tab for me, or a window for you if you have your computer set up that way. And it will show you all of the purchase orders to make that number. So in this case, it's just the one purchase order. We can see the purchase order number and the supplier right here. So as a manager, you can use the ASATs every day if you wanted to kind of see what's being used, what's being purchased, what's being used, how things are changing. The ASAT really is a snapshot of everything that took place up to that point in time. So I'm back in the Manage ASAT NGVs, and I'm going to hop into this Accounts Payable ASAT, and we're going to take a look at it. So obviously this provides a little bit different information than the inventory one. We have the supplier, the invoice, the accounting period, the opening and closing balance, just like the other one. And then these are the different types of entries that can be made in accounts payable. So an invoice void, a contra, a payment, or a payment void. Okay, and again, we can drill into them and see more information about those entries if we wanted to. I did want to show you in the accounts payable one, we do have reports built. So if we go to this, anytime you're in an NGV, you can go to the reports button and it'll show you all of the reports that are built over top of that NGV. So we do have some prepackaged reports that you can print off in Reporting Central and then send to your bank or any stakeholder that needs to see a copy of things to back up that month end. So you would just click this, it'll launch RC and you can run it from there. So that is available on the accounts payable and the accounts receivable one, because those are our most common ones where we require reports out of them. So if I go back to the NGV and we can just kind of talk about it, we have what ASAT got written out, what point in time it was for, the period and date, our notes, who did it, when they did it, the time they did it. And then we also have this one, so the set to expire and the expiry date. So if you've set it to expire because it's not a month-end one and it's not backing anything up, you can use it, but you don't want to lose something. You can manage it this way. You could set up views around what's set to expire or use the expiry date here. In terms of right clicks in this NGV, if we do a right click, view just takes you back into that NTA we were in, and it's in view only mode, so you can see what information was in there. All of that information is already available in the NGV, so I'm not sure how often you will use that one. Change takes you in, but the only thing that's available to change are the as at notes and the expiration date. So you can change that expiration date if you need to. And then if you don't want to wait for the expiration date, you're done with it, you can do a right-click delete to get rid of the entry if you don't need that as copy of that as at. And then we also have audits. So this will take you to our audit screen. Our audit screen or our audit NGV tells us about what has happened to that as at. So any changes and that sort of thing that have been made will show up on the audit itself. So if you have a situation where you have completed the month end, everything's closed, and then you have to open it back up to make some entries and you want to rerun out the as at, but you've already done the 1 month end, you can delete a month end as at and then rerun it out. So you can open everything back up, delete your as at, make any changes you need to, post whatever journal entries you had to do, close your month end back up, rerun out your financial statements, rerun out your as ats, make sure everything balances, and then you can rerun out a month end as at if you need to do it that way. And I think that is everything for as ats. Thank you for your time today, and if you have further questions or need some help, you can contact Discovery's implementers using the above email address.